Drivers, start your engines!
It's MRN Motorsports Monday, the place for the latest news and loudest opinions, direct from the guys at the track. Presented by Outback Steakhouse. This program is rated VNGSN and may contain scenes of verbal nonsense and graphic shenanigans. Viewer discretion is advised.
Oscar, my baloney has a first name.
Today's episode is brought to you by Hercules Tires.
Paint car is on.
Here's Woody Cain.
Everyone knows your name, Woody.
And Buddy Long.
Welcome to another edition of MRN Motorsports Monday, presented by Outback Steakhouse. Joey Meyer on special assignment. Buddy Long joins us again here on the program after the Go Bowling 400 at Kansas Speedway. Martin Truex Jr. finally gets the win at a track that had been sort of a monkey on his back.
Yeah, and he came away with a huge victory in a big way. That car just got stronger as the race went on. He was in the hunt for the better part of the entire race, but boy, when he came to that second stage, right in that area, he really turned on the afterburners. What a great victory for that team.
He even seemed relieved afterwards to finally get the victory there. After leading so many laps last year, he'd finished second a couple of times there, and to finally get that out of the way, he just seemed to go, whew, finally we got it.
And it was a huge victory. I mean, he had some heavyweights that he had to deal with, and Kyle Busch. Great run by Ryan Blaney once again.
I felt so bad for him. I felt so bad. He was right there and had it within his sights, within his grasp, and a couple of restarts late worked out in favor of the veteran.
Truly did. I mean, great run for Kevin Harvick. That veteran had another very solid run over the weekend. Kyle Busch looking to do the double dip, win twice again in weekends in which he has done very well that way, but when it came down to it on those final few restarts, Truex was just a class of the field.
I'm glad you mentioned Kevin Harvick. You know why? Because he had a top 10 finish, and that means Bloomin' Monday at Outback Steakhouse. You can get a free bloomin' onion if you go by and point out, hey, you know, Harvick had another top 10 run. Why don't you have a little something for the effort there, you know? Bring me a free bloomin' onion. Check out their lunch specials. They've got the Joey menu, which is for kids, not Joey Meyer. All kinds of good stuff at Outback Steakhouse. Give them a visit. Tell them you heard about it on MRN Motorsports Monday. But, as we mentioned, Martin Truex Jr. goes to victory lane in the Auto Owners Insurance Toyota. They've been strong all season long. He's up to the second spot in the standings right now. And here's what he had to say to our Alex Hayden afterwards.
Ryan Blaney just a moment ago said, Martin did the restarts right, I didn't. So, how do you do the restarts right?
Man, you got to time it right, and I've been a victim of the same thing. You know, that kid's good, man. He's going to win a ton of races. He's really talented, and their cars are fast right now. So, you know, you do 10 restarts, and 8 of them you get right, 2 of them you screw up. You just hope the ones you screw up aren't for the win. Today we were able to get those ones right when it mattered, and what can I say? Just awesome team effort.
How much did the car and the track change when starting under the sunlight and then transferring into nighttime?
The groove moved around quite a bit. You know, early in the race we've seen the very high groove got really fast on those long runs, and we had to adapt and be able to do that, and we got pretty good up there. And then the next thing you know, we couldn't run up there anymore. It was too slow, and you had to run the middle. And you know, at the end, the bottom was good at times too. So just moving the groove around. We didn't change our car a whole lot throughout the race, really. Just adapted to the racetrack, moved my lines around, and tried to work on it wherever I could.
9th career win for Martin Truex Jr., 2nd of the season, joining BRAD KESELOWSKI and Jimmie Johnson as the only 2-time winners this year. He's starting to pile up some numbers that he can kind of squirrel away for the playoffs later this year.
And he hit a very valid point about restarts, and that's, you know, when Ryan Blaney learns what to do on those restarts, and not saying anything disrespectful, he's still in the learning stage. But one of the restarts late in the event, Truex went underneath of him, almost in the grass, before he got to turn number 1, realizing he wasn't going to have the room to do it, shot to the outside, and before they got to Dave Moody's turn position, which is on a billboard outside of turn 2, Truex had already gone to the other side, gone around him, and grabbed the lead. It was absolutely incredible.
There were an instance or two, I believe. I think Eric Jones was one of them late, a restart where a guy with less than fresh tires was up there and started dropping anchor, and guys were scrambling trying to get around. So that may have been a factor as well.
It was indeed. There were 4 or 5 at one point that, yes, they chose to stay out on some older tires, and of course that made that chess match that much tougher at the very front. But no doubt about it, this is a very strong car, a very strong team. Can't say as much about his teammate. Eric Jones had a rough weekend, but we had a great time with him over the weekend during the truck broadcast, and a lot of fun between himself, Kyle Busch, and you know the other piece to that Furniture Row racing puzzle is going to come together before the season's over.
I'm sure it will, and I still go back to my favorite line of the whole weekend. We have Eric Jones as our booth analyst, and we interview the stage winners. In the truck race, Eric Jones was up there. Kyle Busch was leading and won a stage, so Eric goes to interview him. He keys the mic. Hey, Kyle, this is Eric. You got me? And I swear the first words out of Kyle Busch's mouth was, Jesus, how'd you get up there? And so we had fun with that, and a lot of fun during the weekend with all those activities, and a lot of fun from all the guys going on there. We've got a lot coming up on MRN Motorsports Monday, including the point leaders. Crew Chief Chad Johnston will be here. He is the crew chief for Kyle Larson. They are still atop the standings by 44 points over at Chip Ganassi Racing, and his teammate Jamie McMurray is doing pretty well as well in his own right. We'll do all that next, but first we want to remind you about something coming up in a couple of weekends. The second annual Country 500 Music Festival comes to Daytona International Speedway May 26th through the 28th. The World Center of Racing becomes the World Center of Entertainment Memorial Day weekend with performances by, get this, Blake Shelton, Kid Rock, Miranda Lambert, Keith Urban, Brooks and Dunn, and many more. For more information and to buy your 1 or 3 day ticket passes, visit country500.com.
Citywide to countryside, whatever you drive, wherever you go. Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there, no matter where the road takes you. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
I'm not blooming good, I'm blooming great. Put a shrimp on the barbie and sizzle my steak. Woo, I want that onion to bloom, and it get in my senses like a sonic boom. No rules, just right. So bold, so nice, and I'm so ready for that Outback steak tonight. Outback Steakhouse, that's what it's all about. Outback Steakhouse, blooming great.
Country 500 Music Festival is back with Blake Shelton,
Boys round here,
Miranda Lambert,
You can't ride in my little red wagon.
Kid Rock,
oh, summer long.
Keith Urban, Thomas Rhett, plus Brooks and Dunn, Hank Williams Jr., Jake Owen, and so much more. Memorial Day weekend at Daytona International Speedway. Single day tickets on sale now. Visit country500.com. Sponsored in part by Budweiser.
Sails are in the wind. He'll dive to the inside lane, put Austin Self in the rearview mirror. It'll be the final pass he has to make tonight. Kyle Busch on his way to victory lane.
Once again, working well high, middle, and low. The Kyle Busch Motorsports entry for Kyle Busch himself. Take two through turn 3 and 4. Set sail for victory lane.
All he has to do is exit turn 4 cleanly, and he does so. Kyle Busch off the corner, checkered flag in the air, and Kyle Busch wins the Toyota Tundra 250 at Kansas Speedway.
That's the way it sounded on Motor Racing Network Friday night. The Camping World Truck Series Toyota Tundra 250. Kyle Busch wins, but even he said it wasn't really my race to win.
Yeah, I mean, if there was ever a time for Ben Rhodes to finally shine in victory lane, this was going to be his night. And it was well before he even grabbed the lead and led a lot of laps. He was one of the most intense competitors that was up between Kyle and his teammate, Christopher Bell, running high, running low, a truck that was working very well for that Thor Sport team. It was only a matter of time before Ben was going to take the lead, and once he did, he checked out.
He started to march away, yeah. He really did, and it was so disappointing to talk to him after the race. I unfortunately got that duty. Here's what Ben Rhodes had to say following the race at Kansas.
Yeah, apparently we ran over a piece of debris and it went through the grill and into the radiator, blew up the motor. Just wrong place, wrong time. I mean, you'll have that being the lead truck at these big racetracks, but I just have the worst luck. I just can't get past this. Daytona, we had bad luck. Atlanta, we almost had a similar incident at Atlanta, blew the motor in practice. We were able to rebound from that, and we lost a bunch of track time there. We lost a bunch of track time here. We basically didn't get to second practice because we broke a bunch of stuff on the truck, had to fix that. You know, in Martinsville, we had a left front brake caliper stick the entire race, and we were pretty much over before it started there. So we just need luck to go our way. That's all there is to it. So if anybody can find some, please mail it to me.
There you go, Ben Rhodes, and just a disappointment after that race. He was getting hugs from all of his crew guys, and immediately after we finished that interview, Bono Mannion, who's Kyle Busch's crew chief in the Truck Series, came up, shook his hand, and said, "Man, you had the best truck. I hate that happened." So that was a real touch of class after the race.
Well, misery loves company, and for Ben, unfortunately, the ThorSport team as an entity had a rough night. Matt Crafton, who we're normally used to seeing do very well, no matter what track surface it is.
But in particular, the mile and a half.
Yeah, he's done very well. Grant Enfinger had issues early, and even Cody Coughlin, the other driver in the ThorSport stable, he had issues. So
he went behind the wall early and got some repairs and came back out.
When one ThorSport driver goes down, it just seems like it's a domino effect at some of the races that we've done this year, and they're going to get things turned around, and Ben is going to get a victory.
All right, let's hear what Kyle Busch had to say after winning that truck race.
Kyle, victory lane. Welcome back.
Yeah, thanks. This was a great win for us, but really it's a terrible loss for Ben Rhodes. He had this race won. I mean, I was trying everything I could to catch him and run him back down, and I could gain a little bit on him, and then I'd lose a little bit on him, and we just kind of went back and forth a little bit. But that's a Rowdy manufacturing chassis and a KBM body on that 27 truck, so we knew it was going to be tough to beat, and it was fast. And he was one of the guys we had to race with all night long, so he did a phenomenal job. And it's a tough one to lose that way, I know, because I've lost some that way as well. But for him to be racing against us and to be doing an awesome job, I mean, he raced me clean. He did a great job. He got by me. No issues there with lap traffic and stuff like that. He did a really good race, so it was fun. And it's cool to see young guys like that have great opportunities and to be fast and to make the most of it.
I just can't help but think that Ben Rhodes mentioned the bad luck that he's had, but you got to be up there before that affects you like that, and they're consistently fast. They've just had some things bite them, and it seems like, as Kyle Busch said there, and then Martin Truex said about Ryan Blaney earlier, you have to lose some like that, it seems, before you win.
And I think he's getting his collection in early because he has been in a lot of very good positions or a lot of positions to win races or factor into a win or the top three. There's either been a wreck, there's been an engine failure, there's been something of some nature. So maybe he's getting all of his bad luck out of the way because this is a very young, bright star. Very young, did well through the legend cars and karting, come up through late model, quickly into Cain and right to trucks. And he's got a good, solid team. As you mentioned, you got the Rowdy chassis and the Kyle Busch body. He's got the best of everything right there, so he's going to do well.
I think they will for sure. And the other thing to keep in mind with that is they get to get right back at it now. It's very early in the season. They had a long test session at Charlotte Motor Speedway a couple of weeks ago. They went for into the evening, like about 9 o'clock, several hours of practice there. So I'm expecting a good race on Friday when the Truck Series gets back to action.
Oh, I mean, they've had to be chomping at the bit. I mean, they've run 3 different racetracks. They've run the 2.5-mile Daytona. They've run the 1.5 mile at Atlanta. They ran the short track at Martinsville, and then they just sit. For the longest time, it's like, gosh, can we ever get going here? And they finally have, and now they at least get to put 2 together. Maybe a few more.
Back to back, at least.
They're back into the meat of their season, which is good for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Johnny Sauter, the defending series champ, still leads the standings. We had a chance to talk to him after as well.
What kind of urgency was there at the end?
A lot. So our Legion Travel Chevy was pretty decent all night. The first run we were really good, and I called for an adjustment that was the wrong way to go. Just got way too free, and we played catch up most of the night, and then those last 10 or 15 laps the thing really came alive. So I don't know if we were just a little too low on air pressures and it finally came to us or what, but all in all, a decent night for us, but we do need to get a win. That's ultimately how we're going to run for championships, so we got to get going.
Johnny Sauter leads the standings by only 2 over Christopher Bell, who was one of the final 4 last year, if you will, in the Truck Series, and now he's right there knocking on the door again.
And give credit where credit's due. These are 2 other drivers that were very strong early. Christopher Bell was one of the first drivers, I believe, that came in for the last pit stop. Never really quite got himself all the way back up to the front where he wanted to be, but he was charging. And early in the race, Johnny had a very strong truck, looked very good. Something just happened later in the race where he just wasn't as strong as the other ones, but they're right there in the thick of that points battle.
Sure are. And don't forget, Friday night on the Motor Racing Network, we'll be back at it with the Camping World Truck Series. The North Carolina Education Lottery 200 comes your way at 8 o'clock Eastern Time on the Motor Racing Network. Now, let's segue back to the Cup Series, the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series, because in just a moment we're going to have Chad Johnston on, who's the crew chief for Kyle Larson, leading the standings. But BRAD KESELOWSKI had an up-and-down day, kind of quietly fought his way, and at the end of the night was in second place. I think he had a pit road penalty, and some guys had trouble in front of him. Here's what he had to say following the race.
My gosh, at the end of that thing, how in the world did you get your way to second place?
Yeah, we caught a couple of breaks there on them restarts and made the most of them, which was good. We had a really great, Freightliner Elite Support 4. Just, kept getting caught up in all kinds of adversity there, and worked our way through it. Kind of stinks we finished second, but still lost points to everybody around us because we didn't get those stage points. So got us run up front the whole race, but all in all, really fast forward and a lot to be proud of, and move on to next week.
There you go, Brad Keselowski, third overall with 2 victories on the season, 67 points out of the lead right now, and they just keep piling him up. His teammate has been the one that's had a little bit of bad luck in Joey Logano.
Yeah, but I mean, going back to Brad, that is the definition in any sport. Never give up, because he was left for dead. I think most of us pretty much guaranteed, with the way the pace of the race was going and how things were going up front and how far back he was buried in all the problems he had, there was no way he was going to get back to where he did. And on that final restart, I was standing there looking, and it's like, I can't believe we're getting ready to talk about Brad Keselowski figuring into this race, and it's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely it is. And want to mention as well that Eric Almirola, in a horrifying crash with Danica Patrick and Joey Logano, he was taken to the hospital, flown there for observation, held overnight, and released early Monday morning. We know he has a fractured vertebra. We don't know the extent of his injuries. Stick to MRN.com to find out the latest in terms of what's going to be on tap now for Eric Almirola as he recovers from that injury. All right, another time out on Motorsports Monday. When we come back, Chad Johnston, the crew chief for Kyle Larson, they lead the standings heading into the Coca-Cola 600 in a couple of weeks.
I'm not blooming good, I'm blooming great. Put a shrimp on the barbie and sizzle my steak. Woo, I'm on that onion to bloom, and it get in my senses like a sonic boom. No rules, just right. So bold, so nice, and I'm so ready for that Outback steak tonight. Outback Steakhouse, that's what it's all about. Outback Steakhouse, blooming great.
Where will you be when NASCAR comes to Chicago's fastest loop? 4 days of racing, tailgating, camping, and music come to Chicagoland Speedway September 14th through the 17th. Tickets for Sunday Chicagoland 400 are available now. Camping spots are available and selling fast. All kids tickets $25 off adult price and free on certain race days. Get your tickets and campsite now at ChicagolandSpeedway.com. Chicagoland Speedway, the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series playoffs start here.
Hey, Danica Patrick here. When I have friends and guests at the track who want to hear me drop pearls of wisdom during the race, I send them to Racing Electronics.
You all right back there?
I think so. I didn't, other than hitting a car, I didn't hit anything, but there's a tire down or something.
If you aren't listening to all the action live, you're missing out. Don't forget to rent a scanner or fan vision for the races. Go to racingelectronics.com to pre-rent for great discounts on your scanner and fan vision rentals.
Hi, this is Austin Dillon. Now back to MRN Motorsports Monday.
There you go, reviewing what happened in the Go Bowling 400 at Kansas Speedway, getting set for the Monster Energy All-Star Race coming up this Saturday at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and even the Coca-Cola 600 coming up the following week, to which they've added an extra segment. 4 stages now in the Coca-Cola 600, 100 laps each.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty incredible, and it's going to be fun to find out some of the crew chiefs' opinions and the drivers as well about this additional stage that's added. Obviously, the longest race of the year, so it kind of makes sense that there is an additional stage with it being a 600-mile event, but really getting geared up for this All-Star race this weekend as well. The format change, what they went back to, and what they've done this year, this weekend, should be fun. I got to admit, we work right behind in our regular job, right behind the speedway. So when the cars are there, the energy
What are you,
begins,
a parking attendant or what?
Yeah, I am. Bathroom attendant, parking attendant. I cut the grass.
Yeah,
I do all this stuff.
He does it all.
But there in the warehouse, I got to flip the door up, and I've got to feel the energy of a weekend. And if you've never done that or had the opportunity near you to just do that and feel the excitement of the week building up. I mean, it's starting as early as Monday.
Yeah.
Everybody's left Kansas, or for the fans that couldn't make it there, they're on their way. Campgrounds are getting filled, and you can feel that energy just filling up more and more. It's pretty awesome.
All right. Want to remind you folks, don't forget NASCAR Live coming up every Tuesday night, live at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. And then on Saturday, as we mentioned, the Monster Energy NASCAR All-Star Race. That comes your way. Our coverage starts at 5:30 Saturday evening. We'll have all the action for you as well as practice, qualifying on Friday night. All that's coming up. It's going to be a busy couple of weeks, as Joey we like to tease him about it and say, oh, it's a couple weeks off. You don't have to really do anything. But all the drivers and teams will tell you it's almost busier because people think, well, they're at home. We can ask them to do a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. But, there's still some things to do when you're home as well. And it is good because this is a rigorous schedule that these drivers have, and to be here for 2 weekends in a row is pretty awesome. It's a great opportunity to fans to go downtown, or uptown, I should say, and see the NASCAR Hall of Fame, go see all the race shops. It's an incredible time of year for everybody, and I'm sure the drivers just absolutely love having the opportunity to plant themselves at least for 2 weekends before that summer stretch hits.
Yeah, really. Let's take a look now at what it's going to look like in terms of the Monster Energy All-Star Race. A lot has been done in terms of making this sort of a mini version of what we see on a race weekend with stages, and you can advance by winning these stages both in the open and in the main event itself.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting how this is going to work out. And actually, when I first saw the announcement come out about this, it's like, this is going to be cool. They're short. These are sprints. I mean, these are sprints. I mean, we were at Kansas over the weekend for the truck race. It's 40 laps to the end of stage 1. This is Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series, 20 laps at the end of 1. That's going to go by like greased lightning. And what I love so much, I can't wait, and we talked about it over the weekend, just the style of pit stops when it comes to qualifying.
Oh, yeah,
when
full blast down pit road.
Oh, my gosh. You forget about it so quickly because when you're used to doing the races or watching them on television each and every Sunday or Saturday, you're watching them come down. You see the brake smoke, because they're trying to slow down and get the pit road speed. But when that first car comes off of turn number 4, it's like, oh my God, he's going to kill somebody.
And we used to take it for granted. It used to be the way we did it every week. But now with the safety features that we've got, the pit crews have to wear helmets. They don't let them come down full speed anymore. They're concerned about getting popped for a speeding penalty and have to go to the back of the line. So it's a little bit of a different world, a little bit of a throwback, and I think it's cool.
Yeah, and it definitely tests the brakes once they come flying in there, because wherever their pit stall is, I mean, they've really got to get on the binder sooner or later, and we've watched that during their qualifying. They'll overshoot the pit box because it's just so hard to stop that huge weighted stock car.
And they don't do it every week. They don't get to work on it all that much. They'll take some time during practice, I'm sure, to have some full-bore runs down pit road to try and make sure that they know what they're getting into here, so to speak. But I think that's going to be something fun to watch. And they've got the option now of a new tire, a softer tire that they can switch to for one run. I was speaking with Keith Rodden, who's Casey Kane's crew chief. They've won the All-Star race before, and he pointed out that we'll only get one set of those to practice with to see how much more speed it's going to give us and how much longer or shorter it's going to last than the normal tire. You get to look at it there. The green one is the optional tire. That's the softer, grippier tire.
And it's not a guarantee that everybody is going to use these tires on the final segment. I mean, they can play that game anywhere they want, pretty much, and go. So, while you may think this softer tire, I'm going to bolt it on for the final 10 or whatever the case may be, now you're going to see different strategies played out, which makes it that much more interesting.
Could you use it early to try and get yourself a stage win to make sure that you get into the final, be one of those 10 drivers who makes it into the final?
Exactly, you could. It's going to be fun. And again, another part of this, obviously, we know this is where the crews get to shine. They get a lot of the glory. They're the make or break people in the pits each and every Sunday when it comes to your regular Cup events, your point races. But this is where they really have a chance to shine. I mean, because of the qualifying and the way it goes for the All-Star race, this is really where I love to watch these guys get the accolades they deserve, I should say.
And I've always told fans who are new to the sport, if you want to go to one and kind of get a taste of it, try the All-Star race. As you mentioned, shorter, the segments, it's typically cooler at night. It's not, the blazing sun on you or anything like that. If you're wanting to get a taste of it and see what it's like, this is a good opportunity to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, of course, years ago, when more fans could get into the infield area and get right up behind the pit boxes, and this is when there was a piece of twine that was the wall between the fans and the pits, and this goes back to the Dale Earnhardt days, you had a greater appreciation for what those crews went through during green flag runs or even when the car was on the racetrack. These guys really earn their money. It's just just glorious to watch these guys and what they do.
They really do. We've got a little bit more to come here on MRN Motorsports Monday. Stick with us, but first, Buddy's got something pretty special to tell you about.
Well, it is almost Busch o'clock, the most refreshing time of the day, a time for relaxing and unwinding with friends and family over a crisp, cold Busch beer. Busch beer's roots are in racing, but whether you're enjoying the racing or going hunting on the weekend, nothing is better when it's time to relax in a crisp, cold Busch. Since 1955, Busch has delivered a beer that's as crisp and cold as a mountain stream, consistently providing a refreshingly smooth taste and easy finish. It doesn't have to be happy hour to be Busch o'clock, the most refreshing time of the day. So grab a 6-pack of Busch beer for your cooler, start that grill, and relax. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
I'm not blooming good, I'm blooming great. Put a shrimp on the barbie and sizzle my steak. Woo, I'm on that onion to bloom, and it get in my senses like a sonic boom. No rules, just right. So bold, so nice, and I'm so ready for that Outback steak tonight. Outback Steakhouse, that's what it's all about. Outback Steakhouse, blooming great.
After more than 1 million hours of development, the truck of the future has arrived. The new Cascadia from Freightliner, inspired by science, driven by passion. It's loaded with driver-focused improvements, such as noise abatement technologies for an even quieter ride, an innovative wraparound dashboard for improved comfort, and a reimagined driver's lounge that promotes productivity and relaxation. Experience the new Cascadia at your dealer or online at Freightliner.com.
When the smoke settles, the entertainment never stops.
It's all a family sport.
On race weekends, your favorite NASCAR personality is an everyday superhero.
BRAD KESELOWSKI will win.
But when they leave the racetrack, they're just like everyone else.
We just have to find the value package that connects a new generation of fans.
I'm Susie Armstrong. Join me on a daily journey as we discuss the hot topics and engaging personalities of NASCAR Nation. Ned Jarrett's World of Racing, weekdays on the Motor Racing Network.
Martin Truex Jr. long gone right now as they battle 3 wide into turn number 1 for the runner-up spot. Keselowski on the outside will get it. Blaney for the moment is third, but here comes Harvick.
Well, all the while, it's Martin Truex Jr. some 20 car lengths in the lead, hits the middle groove, and 3 and 4, and sets sail for victory lane.
Martin Truex Jr. way out in front. He won earlier this year on the 1.5 mile at Las Vegas. He's going to do it again tonight here at Kansas Speedway, winning the Go Bowling 400.
Martin Truex Jr. wins the battle, the race at Kansas Speedway, but Kyle Larson still leads the standings, and his crew chief joins us on the guest line now. Chad Johnston is the crew chief for the Target Chevrolet at Chip Ganassi Racing. Chad, congratulations on the way you guys have started the season, and welcome to the program. It was kind of a crazy night for a lot of reasons at Kansas Speedway. How'd it go for you guys?
Yeah, our week got started off rough with having to go to the backup car Friday, but we're able to bounce back from it and qualify decent. And we ran in the top 5 most of the day until we got into a lot of that oil dry that they put down after Joey and Danica and Eric's accident. And we got in the wall, and then we were a little bit tight the rest of the night. But came out of there 6th with a backup car, so thought that was a pretty solid day given all the circumstances, and looking forward to getting to Charlotte.
Yeah, very impressive indeed. And one of the things that we noticed that we were kind of surprised by, Chad, was the drivers went right to the top groove within a matter of maybe 10 laps or so. Everybody was up around the top, including Kyle, but there were times where he and maybe just a couple of the drivers tried the bottom groove. They were the bottom feeders for a while, and it was kind of interesting to watch that. What did he find down bottom that was successful for him instead of going up top so many times?
I think that, ever since the repave there, as the track rubbers in, the groove kind of moves around a lot, and you just got to kind of go where everybody else isn't and where there's the least amount of rubber on the track to find grip. And he's really good about moving around and finding that grip for us as the race goes on.
You and your teammate Jamie McMurray also top 5 in the standings. What's been something, I know typically it's more than one thing, but you guys have really come out of the gates as an organization very strong this year and have been up top of the standings for most of the season so far. What's pushed you guys to that level this season?
I think, middle of the summer last year, we kind of got some stuff straightened out and started to run better, and, we had good, the entire second half of last year, and we just, made a commitment through the winter to just keep up that intensity and not let up on it and not get complacent with finishing the season good and just taking for granted that you're going to start this year good. Just a lot of hard work from everybody here at Chip Ganassi Racing and everybody on the race teams to get us there, and the hard work's ahead of us keeping us there is going to be the hard work.
Yeah.
And for the first time in a while, this weekend, you don't have to worry about the points. You can kind of rest easy there, but you focus your attention now on an all-star race, of which their format has changed a little bit again this year. Gives a chance for the crews and everybody to rest here in Concord, Charlotte, Mooresville area for the next couple of weekends. Your thoughts as you guys head to Charlotte this weekend and that changed format for the all-star race this upcoming Saturday?
I always look forward to watching them qualify. I always think that's fun watching them come to pit road at 100 and some miles an hour. This will be the first time that we've got to do it. Last year we won the shootout, but qualifying got rained out, so we missed out on that opportunity. So looking forward to that, and obviously $1 million at stake Saturday night, and we ran really well here last year at that race, and ended up losing that race to Joey in the final lap. So hopefully we're going to go there and finish one spot better, and learn a lot for the 600 the following weekend.
It almost seems like a little miniature version of what we're doing every week now, in terms of if you get a stage win in the All-Star, you can advance to that final stage. Strategy-wise, have you guys started formulating plans yet, or what might work or what might not work with this? Because these are pretty short segments.
Yeah, absolutely. Track position is going to be important as always, but you also got that softer set of tires that everybody's going to have. So when you put your hand on that, obviously we're going to have to wait till we go in Friday and see how much faster those tires are and for how long. Obviously they're probably going to fall off faster if they do fire off faster. So I think a lot of that you're just going to have to wait and see. But yeah, we've definitely been playing different scenarios out on how to get a stage win early and get locked in fairly early and try to learn something for that last 10. Try to position yourself with track position at the end. If you start on those soft tires, that last segment you have to start at the back. So you're going to have to kind of keep an eye on what everybody else is doing on tires. Try to play that game too, and potentially put harder tires just to get track position if you have to.
And speaking of stages, a few moments ago, obviously the announcement was made that Charlotte Motor Speedway is going to have another stage in the Coca-Cola 600 that will be coming up next weekend, Memorial Day weekend. Your thoughts on the added stage, and how critical is this weekend for the All-Star race as far as your preparation for next weekend as well?
I think it's really crucial. For one, you're going to build momentum if you can get a good run and if you can get a win. But that race it's a really long race, so it's a totally different deal than what the All-Star race is. And normally, if you run really good in the All-Star race, it doesn't always carry over to the 600. So you're going to have to keep an eye on what your longer run speed is when you get to the 600, because that race goes green a lot. And where the All-Star race, you're just looking for some short run speed, 10 or 20 laps. So quite a few differences, but still a lot to be learned as far as how much grip's in the track, what the tires like, pressures and tire settings you can learn a lot from.
How challenging is it? Everybody always says, Chad, that the track at Charlotte Motor Speedway is probably the most temperature sensitive that we face. You guys will have a lot of practice during the day, racing at night for the All-Star, and the Coca-Cola 600 finishes under the lights. How difficult is it to chase that through the day? Because some people say whatever condition you have is magnified once the sun goes down.
Yeah, I think the big thing is to have a good notebook that you can go off of, and trying to learn some things in practice, but you can get yourself lost or confused pretty easy by tuning to the track when it's as hot as it's going to be when we're practicing. So you try to test theories and maybe some methodology and have that carry over, and just try not to get caught up in tuning the car to the racetrack.
All right, it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun for sure when we head to Charlotte Motor Speedway this weekend and next. Chad Johnston is the crew chief for Kyle Larson. They lead the standings in the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. Chad, appreciate your time and congratulations on another strong run and an excellent start to the season.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me, and you guys have a good day.
There you go, the crew chief for the Target Chevrolet. And everybody said Kyle Larson's almost there, he's almost there, and then when he gets that win, and now he's just kind of pulling away from everybody, a 44-point lead in the standings.
Yeah, only a matter of time. And as you mentioned, you touched on it earlier, equally of importance and success, Jamie McMurray. Both those Ganassi Chevrolets are doing very well this season.
Absolutely. All right, that's going to wrap it up for Motorsports Monday. Joey Meyer on special assignment. He should be back next week, provided that wraps everything up and gets him back to where he needs to be. I think he's doing some kind of video game game pilot training or something
He's
like
playing.
that. Well, you might be right, but it sounded better to say he's working hard training, right? Absolutely, it did. It'll be interesting to get his perspective on spotting for the shorter All-Star race versus the longer 600 and how that might play out with the extra stage added in as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's always phenomenal, especially going back 2 weeks ago to Talladega when television will go ahead and play the spotters for a while, and listening to how busy they are with the drivers in the car. They just don't get enough credit for sure.
No, they certainly don't. Don't forget Tuesday night NASCAR Live, 7 o'clock Eastern Time on Friday. We'll have practice and qualifying for you for the Monster Energy All-Star Race. Also, the North Carolina Education Lottery 200 Camping World Truck Series race starts at 8 on Friday night. Saturday, the All-Star Race, our airtime is 5:30 Eastern Time right here on the Motor Racing Network. Want to thank Buddy Long for being with us after calling a turn in Kansas. I'm Woody Cain. Joey Meyer hopefully will be back next week. We'll see you right back here for MRN Motorsports Monday.
MRN Motorsports Monday is presented by Outback Steakhouse. Tune in every Monday for another exciting episode right here on MRN.com. Brought to you by Hercules Tires. MRN Motorsports Monday is also available on demand in MRN.com's Media Center, on our Facebook page, on YouTube, and in iTunes or the Google Play Store. MRN Motorsports Monday is a production of the Motor Racing Network.